Good evening, my name is Mr. Nance, and I'm your student's AP Statistics teacher for the 2024-2025 school year. Appreciate you giving me some time to explain a little bit about myself and about the course. You can take a look at this Google slide here, something I showed all students on the first day. This is my family, and I always tell them this is my motivation for getting out of bed each day and for doing the things that I do. I got Michael and Mason. I have twin boys. They're 11 years old in Westfield Intermediate School. They're in 6th grade there. And then this is Mrs. Nance. She's a former teacher at Creekside, taught 6th grade science there. A little bit more about me as a teacher. There's a cool picture of me. So about me, this is my 17th year teaching. I did 8 years at North Central High School, where I taught everything from repeat algebra to honors pre-calculus. And then I spent 7 years at Creekside Middle School teaching 8th grade on Activate. I was teaching pre-algebra and advanced algebra there. And then this is my second year at Carmel High School here. First year teaching AP Statistics, which has been an absolute blast so far up to this point. I've really enjoyed that, which we'll kind of comment on as we go throughout this video here. But kind of goals for this video, I'll keep it kind of quick and concise. We'll explore Canvas and kind of set up some things that might help you understand what's going on with your students' classroom experience. We got classroom expectations to talk through. I'm going to explain grading procedures and kind of the retake policy, and then contact information. Spoiler, Canvas messages is the best way to get a hold of me, or my email address, kind of either way there. So let's get right into the Canvas page and kind of talk about some things from there. So right away, I'm in student view. So I want to make sure that you see very clearly that the first thing that pops up on your student's Canvas page for math is the agenda from the day. So if your student is ever absent, I always tell them the first thing they need to do is go to the Canvas page and take a look at what we did for the day. So this was kind of our rundown of how the lesson went. We had a warm-up activity the students did, and then we did a mini lesson over standard deviation normal distribution on the 26th of August here, and then we had workshop time where students were working, and I was just kind of circulating, helping them out with all that. Every lesson also has an accompanying module, and those modules are organized pretty nicely. So I always tell students, hey, I spent a lot of time organizing these modules so that you can very easily access the things that you need from a lesson that possibly you missed. So here's that Lesson 8 module from August 26th here. As you can see, I've got the Chapter 5 slideshow for the notes for the day with a couple bonus videos on normal distribution, the empirical rule that explain those that have been linked. There's answer keys for work that they were doing in their workbook that's always been posted. If you kind of explore some of the other modules, once again, I've always got keys and like bonus activities and links all organized very nicely for them to see. So I always tell students there's really no excuse if you miss class. You have to at least check this information. Obviously, I'm here to answer questions that you might have, but in order to keep up with the fast pace of this course, you got to be checking those on absence days. Notice here on the Lesson 6 module, we have Chapter 4 Learning Check below assignments. I always tell students if there's anything below the assignment header in a module, that's something you're probably going to be submitting to me for grading. At the bottom of the modules, you've got two resource modules. There's the school resources, which just have like late start schedule, lunch schedule, and calendar. But then there's a lot going on here in this class resources module. So I first want to start by talking about AP Statistics expectation sheets. This is a document that I posted for students to kind of go through with me on the first day that explains, what it is we're going to be doing in this class, what our goals are, what required materials are, what our textbook is. That's all noticed right there. Just real quick on required materials. Most students have already got this all set up, but I do require a 3-ring binder with loose leaf paper or a spiral notebook and a folder. The stats workbook is something I got to bring every day, their Chromebook, and then also the NumWorks calculator. So part of their book rental fees is they get a NumWorks calculator checked out to them. And these things are really, really sweet, and they do a lot of the stuff that we have to do on the AP test and in statistics very, very easily and very intuitively. So that's always recommended for students to bring every day. As far as phones, I've been asked to reiterate what my phone policy is. What I've told students is that I would like them to be in their backpacks at the beginning of the block. And then also like not having them in their pocket, that's not where we want them, but just understand that their AirPods, their phones, their smartwatches, all those need to be put away just so that we can focus on the lesson that's in front of them. As far as grades go, It's an 80-20 weighting for grades, so 20% classwork, those formative assignments, the lesson checks, stats medic activities, the workbook, AP classroom activities, all of those would go in the classwork category for 20% weighting, and then tests and quizzes would be 80% of their overall grade. So each unit is going to have like 2 or 3 quizzes that are like 2 or 3 questions each that take about a half hour. We have our chapter 3 and 4 quiz coming up on Wednesday of this week. I think you'll see the video on Thursday, so it'll be yesterday by the time you see this video. And then there's going to be 3 unit tests each semester as well. And the 3rd unit test in semester 2 is actually a practice AP exam. So all of those are there. The unit tests are worth 100 points each, and the quizzes are usually like 20 points or so. So the majority of students' grade is going to be determined how they do on the tests. I typically don't offer too many retakes of those tests. What we do is test grade replacement, which, as you can see, the explanation for how that works here is that tests can be replaced if they have all of their homework assignments in, all their quizzes done. They can replace one of those test grades with they drop the lowest test grade. Here it is, I'm sorry. Your final exam grade may be replaced one of your unit tests, and you may drop your lowest quiz score if you have all of these checked off here as well. Now, as far as quizzes go, I kind of take that on an individual basis. If a student didn't do well on a quiz and wants their shot at showing me they understand the material, I usually set something up like during SRT for them to come in, conference with me, and work through that. But really, it's just about communication. It's about us building a relationship with your student and kind of understanding that, okay, we need another crack at this one or whatever. That's kind of on an individual cases based right there. Contact information at the bottom there. My email is probably the best way to get a hold of me. I'm usually good for checking my email once or twice in the evening. You can phone call me, but sometimes those kind of slip through. Usually email is the best way to share a concern or ask a question that you might have from there. So outside of those class modules, as far as grades go, Canvas does show grades on assignments that are submitted through Canvas, but you really want to be looking at PowerSchool for your students' overall grade. The grades from Canvas will sync to PowerSchool at 4 a.m. every night, but there are also additional assignments that I'll load into PowerSchool that Canvas doesn't know anything about. So definitely use PowerSchool to kind of see what your overall grade is from there. I'm going to leave student view here to show you one thing here. So if you are on your Canvas page, up here in this left corner where you see your account, if you click on that and click on notifications, this is where you can set up kind of like what Canvas is notifying you about that's going on. There's 2 things that I use, I guess 3 things I use in AP Statistics. The first one would be announcements. So right here, announcements, you probably want that to be notified immediately. You'll get an email saying Mr. Nance has announced that there's a quiz next class or there's a test next class. And then also submission comments. You probably want to have that set up for notify immediately. I have it for a daily summary, but you might want to set that up for notify immediately. So if a student submits work and I say, hey, this needs to be recompleted or your answer to this isn't sufficient, like I'll put a submission comment there, and that's kind of immediate feedback for homework, and you'd be notified that that's happening. And then also conversation message. So if I message your student, let's say there's like a bigger issue that we need to have maybe a one-on-one conversation with, you might want to be notified immediately if that's happening there. But other than that, I always ask that you please understand that I'm here to advocate for your kid. I want them to be successful. Like, I want students to be successful in my class, and I think I do a really great job of building relationships with them, but there's always things that I can be made more informed about. So don't hesitate to reach out to me if there's a special situation or circumstances that you feel like I need to be made aware of. I'm always willing to work with students, within their realm of success, as an individual. So I'd be more than happy to help solve any issues that might come up. Please don't hesitate to reach out if you have concerns. Like I said, Canvas message or email, I'll get right back to you with a response within, pretty much immediately as soon as I read it there. But I hope you guys are excited about this year. I appreciate your attention to the video, and have a great night. Thank you so much.